You sit down, log in, and move your mouse. But that little arrow on your screen is actively taking notes on your behavior. Mark Zuckerberg recently sent a message to all Meta employees in America with a clear directive. The company is installing tracking software directly onto their work machines. The internal messaging framed the rollout as a collaboration. The corporate memo explicitly stated they needed their employees' help to implement the new tracking system. When a company with tens of thousands of workers makes a move like this, it establishes a baseline. It sets the standard for how other major corporations will manage their own remote workforces. A few years ago, the sudden transition out of physical offices gave millions of people total control over their daily schedules. You could step away for laundry or take a walk, as long as the deliverables were finished by 5. Now, the executives who built these massive centralized campuses are pulling back. They are actively seeking ways to manage employees they can no longer physically see sitting at a desk. Moving home did not remove the middle manager from the equation. It simply replaced them with a piece of code that runs silently in the background. To understand what is actually being installed on these machines, we have to look at the software itself. Modern monitoring tools are highly sophisticated and look nothing like an old-school punch card. This timeline shows how the foundational layer works by measuring physical input. If your fingers are hitting the keys, the system logs you as active. Pause for a sip of coffee or to read a document, and a timer starts ticking down until you are flagged as idle. Then comes application sorting. The software scans your open tabs and active windows, cross-referencing them against an approved list to determine if the exact program you are looking at is useful for the company. Finally, algorithms take that idle time, combine it with your application history, and generate a live productivity score. Your entire 8-hour workday is boiled down to a single fluctuating number on a manager's dashboard. The messy reality of human problem-solving, staring at a wall, sketching on paper, or quietly thinking through a complex issue, is completely erased because a computer cannot measure it. From the top floor, this level of insight is highly attractive. Executives suddenly have access to granular data on exactly how long every single task takes across thousands of employees. By pulling this data into a centralized heat map, they look at an entire department and immediately spot exactly where a project slows down, identifying specific teams that take longer to process information than the algorithms predict they should. The objective here is rarely to single out one specific person for punishment. Instead, businesses use these tools to treat the entire human workforce like a giant factory floor, tightening the digital conveyor belt wherever the data shows slack. When Silicon Valley giants validate these tracking tools, they quickly filter down into the rest of society, pushing into spaces that have nothing to do with corporate America. Universities and high schools are routinely deploying remote proctoring software that uses webcams to scan students' eye movements, instantly flagging them for cheating if they look away from the screen for too long. Independent creators working on massive social platforms face a similar squeeze. The algorithms dictating their reach demand a relentless, highly structured release schedule that heavily penalizes natural creative pacing. The end result is a constant low-level anxiety. People start clicking tabs and wiggling their mice simply because they know the machine is watching and they need to look busy. Meta mandating this for its U.S. workforce sends a clear signal. It tells every institution that constant, invisible surveillance is an entirely acceptable baseline for daily operations. We are moving into a version of the economy where every click, scroll, and pause is recorded, uploaded, and graded. This creates a severe fracture in how we relate to the institutions we work for, rewriting the basic premise of earning someone's confidence. You no longer have to prove to a manager that you are reliable through the quality of your output. A piece of code simply verifies your presence by weighing your keystrokes against a mathematical average. If the system insists on verifying every single second of your day, human trust ceases to exist. It is replaced entirely by continuous, automated auditing. Advocates for this technology point to genuine logistical benefits. Companies can secure sensitive data more effectively, pinpoint exactly where their operations are failing, and eventually train AI assistants customized to how individual employees work. But those efficiency gains come with immediate costs. Workers burn out faster under the stress of constant monitoring. Opaque algorithms penalize people for invisible reasons, and a basic expectation of digital privacy is wiped out. The massive technology firms are laying down the wiring for this highly monitored future right now, installing the software machine by machine. We have to decide if squeezing out every last drop of measurable efficiency is worth living under a permanent magnifying glass. Let us know if you think mandatory tracking is the inevitable future of work in the comments, and subscribe to keep exploring the systems shaping our digital lives.